Hey, what's up everyone? It's the Arcane Glade, and today I'll be teaching you how to become invincible, invulnerable in Oblivion. Now, I know I recently made a video on how to become overpowered. However, since then I have gotten some newer items that I'd like to share with you, and I'll share with you how to basically take 0 damage in this game, with some small exceptions. So the first one, I covered this in the last video, is this reflect damage effect. You can make spells with this if you have the Tower Birthstone. You could also make potions. However, it's just much more convenient to have apparel on, so you don't have to think about constantly casting spells or taking potions. You can just wear the apparel and you won't take the damage. There are 3 items in the game that you're going to need to be able to get above 100% reflect damage. The first 2 to 3 are random loot. So first, you have the Ring of the Iron Fist. This gives a 25-point bonus to hand and a 33% reflect damage. This is random loot. You're just gonna have to find this out in the world. In my previous video, I showed how you can get this with the Temple of the Ancestor Moths. Likewise, you have the Necklace of Swords, which reflects 33% of damage and fortifies Blade for 25 points. Now, I said there are 3 items. In the third one, I don't have on this character, however it exists out in the game. It's called the Amulet of Axes. It does the exact same thing, except it fortifies blunt instead of blade. This can also be found at the Temple of the Ancestor Moths. It can also just be found anywhere in the world. If you play, you will probably find it. I have 4 on this character. I don't know if I'm just extremely lucky or if it's an easy item to find. The final item is the Escutcheon of Coral. You unlock this through a certain quest in Coral, which requires you to reunite 2 twin brothers, and then there's an ensuing quest after that. For this item is leveled. You have to be level 25 or above to get the best stats on this, which are the ones right here with the reflect damage of 35% and the fortification of endurance for 10 points. If you don't get the highest level version, you will have an inferior reflect damage and you won't hit 100%. So before you do that quest, make sure you are the appropriate level, or else you will not get this good of an item. Next up is the spell absorption effect. This one can be easily cast. You can just buy it in the game, but you have to be 75 in mysticism to be able to even cast 1 spell of this. Unless you're the Atronach birth sign, but this character is not. However, you can easily get 100 spell absorption with custom enchantments and random loot. I will be going through those right now. The first item I'm going to talk to you guys about is the Sorcerer's Ring. This is once again some random loot you can find out in the world. This gives 25 points of magicka and 25 points of spell absorption. There, we're already 25% of the way done with 1 ring. Next up, you have the Magebane Greaves, which give 20 points of spell absorption. Once again, random loot. Next up, I have some custom enchantments. The way you can get custom enchantments that are this good are by sigil stones from Daedric portals. However, the effects of the sigil stones are random. It's kind of luck of the draw. I was lucky enough to get 4 that had 15 points of spell absorption on them, so that's how I have these enchanted armor, boots, gauntlets, and helmet. There is also a helmet out in the game called the Helmet of the Mage, which gives 14 points of spell absorption. If you find that, that will suffice, assuming you get all the other ones. Don't be like me, who enchanted a helmet just to get rid of the other one to get a 1-point bonus. Enchant something else so you get more total points, and then if you end up finding a 4th one, you can replace the Helmet of the Mage, but you shouldn't even after that point because they'll be at 104 points of spell absorption. What spell absorption does is that every time you are hit with a spell or an enchanted item, you absorb the magicka from it. Now, in the game, there exists an effect called the Reflect Spell effect. It basically does the same thing as the Reflect Damage, except when someone casts a spell at you, it goes back to the opponent. However, this is mutually exclusive with the Reflect Damage, because here we have the Spellbreaker, which, as far as I know, is the best shield in the game with the Reflect Spell enchantment. This gives up to 30%. However, that means you're going to have to forfeit the Escutcheon of Coral. If you have a lower version of the Escutcheon of Coral and don't want to use that, then you can use the Spellbreaker. There's also, as a random piece of loot, the Shield of Reflection. Here are some other rings, like the Ring of Sunfire, Namira, the Mundane Ring, and then here are some random amulets that you can find out in the world. However, like I said, you can't have these and the Reflect Damage ones at the same time because you're going to have your Amulet of Axes or your Necklace of Swords. You can't have these amulets. You're going to be using at least 1 ring for the Ring of the Iron Fist, and then, like I said, the Escutcheon you'll not. Although you won't get the benefit of having the spell being reflected back to them, with spell absorption, you will at least not take damage from it, and if you are a mage character and you use a lot of magic, it's pretty helpful because you essentially never run out of magicka, especially if you're fighting magic enemies. But anyways, I'm gonna go show y'all what this looks like in gameplay. Alright, here's our first enemy in this Oblivion gate. We have Spider Daedra. Every time my character turns purple, that means I have absorbed a spell. Let's just cast some spells. Let's cast some more expensive ones just so you can see the magicka depleting and regenerating. See, I'm taking... Every time a spell is cast against me, I absorb it. Now let's silence the Spider Daedra to get it to use physical damage against me. So I have to deal with that stupid little spider. As you can see, it's hitting me, and I am still at full health. 631 out of 631. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Hope y'all learned something new. Check out some other videos. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.